Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pets or Family. I'm Tricia Montgomery, along with
Jessica Abernathy.
your host for this fun and informative video podcast where we talk about the real issues that matter to you as pet parents and way more. How do you make your pets feel like family?
Hi, Jessica. How
Hi,
are
Trish.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. Lots going on here at Pets or Family. You know, we've had some amazing people on this podcast and way more to come, and just excited. Today, we're going to be talking about a little bit about sunshine and sparkles.
Yeah, I like that. I'm always sunshiny and sparkly. And you live in the sunshine, sparkly state, you know what I mean? So
I love that. I love that. Do you think that do you think our dogs can feel like the positivity that radiates through us? Do you believe in that? Because there's a thing called anthropomorphism where our energy goes to our dogs, and that, like, oh my goodness, I think you're hungry. Are you so hungry? And so we take our own emotions upon our dogs and put that out into our pets.
course. I mean, think about it. You could tell anybody or even small children, you could be like, you are so ugly, it's just the tone of your voice, and they never catch on any of that. Of course,
I
Yeah,
can't
of course.
stand you.
Yeah, you're an evil. Yeah, of course. They think that high pitch, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think it works totally.
I agree with you. I agree with you. It's interesting the voices that we go into for our animals, whether it's cats or dogs, how we immediately go into, or me immediately. I immediately go into that. Oh, are you so good to see you? Oh my goodness gracious. And you like go to this crazy voice, and then what are you doing? What kind of voice is that? I've never heard of that voice before. Where'd that come from?
Right, right. Well, I mean, okay, so no offense. I mean, think about it. On social media, Tatum, the dog Tatum, his owner, he threw his voice, and now everybody loves the voice Tatum. I mean, it's famous, We should
It is.
he should come talk to us on our show, but I think he might be too famous for
Oh,
us.
well, who's too famous for us? I mean, we've got Catlin Brown coming on. She has Sparkles and Sunshine,
That's
and
true.
she's got a really cool blog. She's got Pinterest, and she's got all these cats and dogs and just a horse, and she's just absolutely lovely. We talked about Global Pet Expo. I met her at Global Pet Expo, and I just fell in love with her personality. And I thought, she would be somebody really good to have on Pets or Family to talk about her, what she does as a pet parent. And then also maybe she can give some tips to pet parents if they want some tips on how perhaps to become, doing something with their own pets. Is there something that they could do? So maybe they can find some tips out.
That's true. I mean, we all want to be famous. We all want to be famous,
15 seconds.
I was gonna say, yeah, I don't want to be famous. I just want everybody. I just like to talk.
That's why we get along so well. We both like to talk.
Yeah, I don't necessarily need to be famous. I just like to talk, and I want somebody to listen to me. And I don't care if I got to talk to the bis. I don't care. I just like talking.
Well, there's something to be said for being famous and getting the word out there. And the guests that we have are pretty. I was going to say the F word there. I almost dropped the F bomb, but I did not do it. Pretty flippin' amazing here. And just think about everybody that we've had on. And more to come. So let's bring on Catlin Brown of Sparkles and Sunshine.
All right, let's go.
Well, look who we have here, Miss Sparkles and Sunshine herself, Catlin Brown. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you.
Yeah, we are very excited to have you. We've talked about this, but Catlin, I met you at Global Pet Expo, and I I kind of just love you. Your energy, and you started talking about your animals, about your pet, about being a pet parent. You've leased it, and I think you've leased a horse, and
Yep.
just the skills that you're trying to learn, and also the things that you're passing on to pet parents, because you've got an incredible side of Sparkles and Sunshine. I want to know more about you.
Yeah, so essentially, I started my blog a couple years ago. I have a background in digital marketing. I've done corporate marketing with a retail focus for about 6+ years, and I wanted to kind of find my own creative outlet because we were starting a blogger program and all this stuff. And I was like, I think I could do that. And initially, I was, working for a fashion company. I was like, oh, well, I like clothes. Let me see if I can do it. And then I realized that just wasn't the route I wanted to take. And I was like, what do I really like? I'm like, dogs. This is the easiest thing I've ever had to choose. So I switched over to pets, and then when I started writing, I added in the equestrian side, and I've never looked back. And I cover a lot of different topics. Like I have a puppy 101 section because my family used to breed labs when I was younger. I have my equestrian section, and then I do a lot of things for. I do have 2 large breed dogs, so I do a lot of dog or large breed care. I do product reviews, canine enrichment, you name it. That's me.
I love that. What do you enjoy most out of the, because we don't really talk a lot about, we're pet parents, but we don't talk about horses or that. Talk about that.
Yeah, so I always wanted to ride as a kid. It was something that, I was that little girl who just saw horses and was just like, oh my gosh, those are beautiful. They're so cool. And always wanted to learn how to ride. But, the equestrian world, it is expensive. I mean, dogs can be expensive too. We just had surgery on Diesel, so dogs can be expensive too. But, the horse world is kind of something of its own. And so, my family couldn't necessarily afford it. And then years ago for Christmas, I got lessons for Christmas from my boyfriend, and shocker, I never looked back. So I started doing that. And because I started as an adult, there are some things that kind of come with that. When you're a kid, you're a little bit more fearless. But when you're an adult, you know what can happen if you fall off. Or like, you can't always take time off of work like maybe you can school and do stuff from home. Like there's a lot of differences. And I feel like when you start as an adult too, you have a really big appreciation for it because you know how much it costs, how much work it is. And then learning all of it and being able to kind of put all of it together, it's just really fun. So I started that section so I could, meet other adult equestrians and teach them things as I'm learning them, ask questions and learn from each other. And it's just an awesome community. It's been great.
I'm always my family is from Kentucky, and so that horse farm and that
I'm
Lexington
so jealous
area.
because the 3-day event's going on right now, and I've been seeing everyone who's there, and I'm just like so jealous. I can't wait to see all the videos as the keeps going on. I'm thrilled.
I think there's a difference between the bond between an equine and its master and a pet owner of a dog or a cat, because within that horse, you're wrapping your legs around, I mean, you're placing your trust in that horse because you can fall off. They're in control. If you're not in control, they're not, they can be out of control. And I think that there's there's not more of a bond, but there's more of a trust, because it is you have a relationship with your dog or your cat or any other animal, but the horse, it's different. Can you address that, Catlin?
Yeah, so with horses, and like when you're riding, you're communicating in a very different way. Like we kind of joke that it's basically controlled chaos in a sense, because you're controlling with like kind of 2 main things: your seat and your leg. And you're able to multiple movements, control pace, control speed, control everything from like those 2 things. Obviously your reins and stuff like that come in handy. You'd use everything together. But some videos out there, and you'll see some people like a lot of people who ride horses, they don't need a bit. They'll do a neck rope, they do all this stuff because the horse is so in tune to their seat and leg, and it's crazy. And at the end of the day, if the horse does want to change and do what it wants, like it can, like it can. However, like you said, trust is really kind of what it comes down to, and having that clear communication. And obviously we're not perfect, like there's no perfect rider out there, but as long as you're trying your best and as long as you're riding a horse that's a good match for you. Like the ones that I ride at the barn, they're so incredible. The one I jump right now, Justice, he's He's incredible. He's so safe. He wants you, he helps you learn. He doesn't, he's very forgiving, he's very patient, and he wants to see you succeed. So it's really cool, and kind of getting you building that trust. Like he's a great match for me, because I get a little nervous sometimes. I'm trying to learn. I don't want to mess up, trying to remember all these things. And he's literally kind of blowing me like, yeah, I got this, kid. Just point and shoot. You work on yourself. I'll take us to the jump. I'll do this. We got this. And he's giving me so much confidence. It's great. So it's really cool, the bond that you can create. It's awesome.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, just to think about that, the bond that you're creating, it's that human animal bond, and that relationship that you're creating. But you have some other animals. What you've got Diesel? I want to know more about the other animals that you've got too.
Yes, so I have 3 awesome ones at home. So Diesel's my first. He's my brindle boy. He's a Mastiff Great Dane Staffy mix. He's 6 years old. We got him. We actually met him at 2 months old, but we had to wait a month to get him because he had some ringworm that he came to the shelter with, and we've had him since then. And it's like the all-American boy. That's how I like to describe him. Like, he is just certified good boy. All he wants to do is give you love. He wants to make you happy. We have some neighbors in the afternoon that sit outside, and we call them his ladies, because he loves to go outside and see them and give them all the love and kisses. And he's just, some dogs are very food motivated. He's just love and praise motivated. He just wants to be by your side, and he's down for anything. He's the dog. He will try anything. He's just great. So that's Diesel. Then Annie is our second dog that we got. She just turned 3 in January, and she is my sassy pointer, cattle dog, Aussie border collie type mix. She is an evil genius, basically, to say. She is so smart for her own good, but she is so much fun. Like, I've always wanted kind of a high energy dog as well. Diesel's my couch potato, but also is very agile for his size. Like, I'm amazed at how fast he can turn sometimes. I'm like, how are you? I can't even do that. He just spins. But Annie, I do agility with. I do a handful of different things with her, and she's really cool. But she is the type of dog that actually introduced me to, in my canine enrichment section of my blog. I learned it from another blogger, Tori Mystic. She's become a good friend of mine, and ever since I kind of discovered it, I was like, okay, this is what she needs. It's puzzles, it's brain games, it's activities to kind of give her that mental stimulation on top of physical stimulation, which actually all dogs need. It's not just for those high energy, it's for all of them. And ever since I got her, I've been able to dive into that, and it's been a really cool to kind of learn, and you get to see her so excited. So she's so cool. She's come such a long way, because she actually was a COVID puppy. I got her basically 1 or 2 days before the lockdown hit. And so she wasn't able to be as socialized as Diesel was. So, she can be a little bit more reactive, and she can be a little bit more anxious. And that's something that I had never experienced before as a dog owner either. So she's taught me a lot. I feel like I've taught her a lot. Like, we do a lot together as a team, and it's been cool. And see her kind of become more confident in the last a year and a half has been incredible. And then last but not least, I don't want to get too long here, is Colonel Mustard. He's our newest kitten. We got him in March. He is a ginger cat, and he is the definition of a ginger cat. He's so happy, he's goofy, super chill, and he has become my dog's best friends. And it makes me so happy, because you always start with the introductions and stuff like that, but I wasn't sure, how close they would be. But he's actually best friends with Annie. I wasn't expecting that relationship. I was expecting him and Diesel, and he's actually closer with Annie, and it cracks me up. I'll look at him sometimes, and she's getting ready to pounce him, and he's like, bring it home. it just cracks me up. So those are my 3 at home. They're all great.
Colonel Mustard. How did you come up with that name? I'm sorry, but I'm like the name queen. A couple weeks ago, we had Zachary Tinkle on, and his dog's name was Zuzu, and I thought he's a race car driver. I thought it was the female version of Zoom Zoom, and I was so wrong. So how did Colonel Mustard come around? Because that's cute.
So his original name was Stretch. That's what he came with, and obviously we wanted to kind of rename him. And so we were coming up with this list, and when I saw him, I was like, oh, he could be a cute Oliver, because he has such a sweet face, so he could be an Oliver. And then I was like, well, if he's stretched, maybe it could be something tall. So I initially thought of Melman the giraffe from Madagascar. And my boyfriend sitting with me when we were thinking of names, he's like, we're not naming him Melman. He was very adamant on not naming him Melman. I was like, okay, well, you have any suggestions? And he threw out Colonel Mustard, and we kind of looked at each other, and I was like, at first I wasn't sure, and then the more we thought about it, I was like, no, that's actually it's pretty good. So that's kind of how we came up with it. It just kind of popped up, and it's funny because every Halloween I actually do dog and owner like Halloween costumes. I do like matching. I do all out. And now that we have Colonel, ever since we named him that, I was like, oh, we are doing the most Clue themed group costume, and it's gonna be amazing. And he's obviously going to be himself, and then figure out who's going to be like, Mr. Peacock and Mr. Green or whatever the characters are, the butler. I think it'll be really fun. So I'm excited.
Nice. I like that.
Oh, I love that, Kayla. I love your energy. I love, and it's always so cool to hear about the different ways that we come up with our pets' names. I think we had somebody on who had PBGBs, the PBGBs and the peanut butter dogs, as you call them, Jessica, and how they came up with their names to the Fonzie and the Roo and everything like that. Just fun. So, Caitlin, you also started Sparkles and Sunshine, which I love that name, and you exude that. If a pet parent was interested in, maybe earning some money on the side, what tips? Because you really launched something really spectacular through Pinterest and everything. Talk about that.
Yeah. So for me, like I said, I do have a background in digital marketing, and so what I would really recommend for pet parents is, if you could start with like one thing to learn, just one, I would say to understand what SEO is. And SEO basically stands for search engine optimization, and that's basically the tool that allows you to be found in Google, Pinterest, YouTube. It really expands across so many channels. Even, TikTok and Instagram, they're wanting to be found with certain terms and stuff like that too. So kind of having an understanding of what that is. And it's basically just kind of making sure that whatever you're writing across if you have a website with like a blog post or something, whatever you're writing, just want to make sure you're using words that help you to be found on Google. So you can, if someone searches for the topic you're looking for, it increase your chance of actually being selected, in that list, so people can find your article and read your point of view and what you're sharing. So I think that's a huge thing, because ever since, I really kind of doubled down on that in the past year and a half, and I applied it to my website, I applied it to Pinterest, I recently launched my YouTube channel, and in a year, I kind of really saw drastic growth. My Pinterest reaches over 300,000 people a month. 75% of my website traffic comes from Pinterest. And then obviously the other part is, my SEO strategy that has been, growing in tandem. And then the website, I've grown from getting only a couple thousand, almost to 30,000 a month. So it really matters, and it's really important. But the biggest thing I will say with it is that it is a slower process. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not a viral TikTok video, as much as we all wish it could be, because I know I do. But having an understanding and seeing how it impacts, and once you are starting to get to those numbers, having that behind you to approach brands and say, this is who I am, this is, the audience that I have.
Yeah.
No one can touch you there. They'll be excited to work with you, and they'll be excited to see what you can do for them.
Wow, that's cool.
That's such great information to share, and especially for, if you're in college, if you're a pet, you're a pet parent, and you've got these amazing animals around you, and the love that you have and what you can do with that. I love that. Caitlin, how can people get a hold of you? If people want to know where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you? Because I know I wanted to get in touch with you. So I know. I kind of have like the fangirl with you, Caitlin.
This is so much fun.
You can be with us anytime, Caitlin. How can people find you? How can people find you? And tell us all about the channels that you're on, and how can people find you?
Yeah, so my website and pretty much everything is Sparkles and Sunshine blog. So website, sparklesandsunshineblog.com, and then every channel, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, Facebook. I think I got them all. It's all Sparkles and Sunshine blog. And you can just search that and I should come right up. So that's how you can find me.
I love it. Quick question for you. How did you come up with the name Sparkles and Sunshine? What made you do Sparkles and Sunshine? Because that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so it's funny because, originally when I started, I wasn't a pet blogger. And I feel like when you see a lot of pets out there, it's something funny that, or punny that has to do with dogs, or it has to do with an animal. Like, a lot of people tie that in. And while I love that, I was just like, I wasn't pet blogger at the time. And I was like, well, what does very me? And I was kind of throwing combinations of words out there, and that randomly popped into my head. And I was like, well, that seems kind of fun. I'm like, I like that. And at first, sometimes you kind of have that, like, is that cheesy? Is it weird? But then I was like, no, like, I like pink, I like yellow, I like bright colors, I like happiness. I was like, no, we're gonna go with it. And I've stuck with it. And what I like about it the most is that, I feel like not only does it describe me well, but it doesn't put me in a box. Like, I could be anything, I can do anything. And it just kind of sets up so much opportunity for wherever the world, takes me. So I think it's really fun, and I'm just gonna stick with it.
Awesome. I love that. I like that name though too. I love it.
Yeah. Catlin, thanks for spending your time with us. I say this, you can spend your time with anyone. We appreciate you coming on. Thank you for everything that you're doing. Thanks for just like sharing your not only your sunshine, your sparkles, sharing your thoughts, equestrian, and also that great, on what to do from a standpoint of just riding horses, or even, owning a dog and getting we love Colonel Mustard. So we can't wait to have you on again. Catlin, thank you for being with us today. Thanks again.
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me. If anyone, please reach out if you have any questions, or if you see any topics that I cover and you want more information, I'm happy to help. And I just can't wait to meet more pet parents. You guys are always the best.
I think we should have her on another time just to talk about how to become an influencer and what does that mean and what does that look like. You know what I mean? Yeah. I got an email in my inbox a couple of weeks ago and asking me if I wanted to be a Facebook influencer, and I kind of looked at it like, me? Really? Well, have you met me? I looked at the email. I'm like, have you met me?
Well, and that's the thing. I feel like there's so many, like, I think we should definitely do an episode on something like that, because there's so many levels of it. Like, everything I do, I just try to be super authentic and every day. Like, I'm never trying to be someone who just stands and poses for a picture. Like, it's life with animals. It's gonna be RUFF, like really rough. It's not always perfect, but it's a blast. So I definitely think that could be a really fun topic to cover. And there's so many topics we could talk about. We have endless opportunities.
I do. I think we should have you on again. So, and it sounds like you're willing to come chat with us more. So I love that.
Oh, absolutely. This is a blast for me. I mean, even when I met, Trisha, I was, I just love talking to people. So I think this is just a great way to spend an afternoon.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Thank you, Catlin. Good to see you. Can't wait to see you again.
Too. Yes, I'm ready whenever you are.
All right. Awesome. Bye. Wow, that was interesting. What do you think?
Something about her I just love. She's just got this wholesomeness. She's got like the girl next door. She's got all of these beautiful things, and I love the way she talks. We don't talk about horses,
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
We don't.
And they're and they're a pet. They're a family member as well. And I love how she talked about leasing her horse, or leasing a horse, to get to know, and making sure that because that's a big financial commitment. It's a big decision all around, and how you do that, and how she's learning, and what she knew, what she wanted to ride.
You're gonna laugh at me. You're just gonna laugh at me. My mother's people. I'm famous for that. Now my mother's people. Now my Aunt Mary, my mom's only sister, my Aunt Mary has used to have a farm in Maine, and they had draft horses. And so that's why I said my mother's people, they're famous. I told you they're farm people. But she had draft horses, and they're huge. I mean, you got to remember, I was also little, you know what I mean? So, draft horses are huge when you're little, but they're big when you're adults, but they're huge when you're little. And I mean, every summer we'd always go up to her house and we'd always hang around the draft horses, and they're cool. They're really fascinating animals and they're really cool. But at the same time, you've got to have respect for them. You really
You
do.
do.
If you don't have respect for them, you're going to get hurt. And listening to her talk about them, it's like,
I do.
yeah, I'm like, no, thank you. I mean, you run with that girlfriend. You know what I mean? I'll stick to my dogs and my cats, you know what I mean? And I'm not afraid of them or anything like that. It's just that, you have to have a respect for them. And I do have a respect for them enough that I let other people play with them.
I have ridden horses in every country that I've been in. I've been in Germany, Brazil, Peru. I mean, Wells, every place that I've gone, I've found a place to ride a horse. And again, my family around the Kentucky Horse Park, and I fell in love with horses. And I've always loved horses and just the beauty and just that smell and the cleaning and just having that. I think it's just so beautiful, so unique. And I have forever been enthralled and passionate about the bond between a human and an equine, and just the trust and the level of trust, and how, they're majestic. They're just majestic creatures, and just how beautiful they are. And, that like the Mustang, the taming, and just how the wild and the free. Something about them. I love horses. I absolutely love horses. But she's got some fun dogs too, Diesel, and just talking about them, how cute they are, and Colonel Mustard asking about that. Yeah.
I mean, that's a name. I mean, like, I couldn't even come up with a reason why she came up with Colonel Mustard. And it's funny because,
You're trying.
you had Moose, you know what I mean? So what was Moose's name before you adopted?
Moose's name. So first of all, I was the CEO for Paws Humane Society at that time. And when he came in from Columbus Animal Care and Control, his name was Boss. And so so it was the March 27th, right before the pandemic started. And I was all alone in Columbus, Georgia, like working all these hours. And so I decided to foster. So I got approved to be fostered through my Humane Association. And I brought home Boss on a Saturday. I picked up a steak, I picked up some sushi, and it was just the best. He farted in his sleep and he slept with me. He was just a doll. Oh my God. He was just a love. And he just clung to me all night long. It was like he never wanted to leave my side. And I kept him through Sunday. And then Monday, I thought, I don't know if I'm ready for a dog, because I had lost my dog Zeus to Cushing's about a year and a half, 2 years before that. And so it was, I don't know if I'm ready. But I tell you what, Moose changed my life. And so when I adopted him officially, so first of all, I brought him back and I just said, I don't know if I'm ready or not. And then throughout the day, I kept like going back and forth to, where he was, and he was heartworm positive. So he was and he was a small, it was like a low rider. And I kept going back there. By the fourth time, I'm like, he's mine. You're going home with me. And it was during the Bissell Pet Foundation event, and I adopted him. And then I kept, I went, I think I called him Puddin for a while. And then one time that it was probably like 3 days into adoption, I turned around and I'm like, Zeus, what are you doing? And I used the word Zeus, and he turned around and like looked at me. I'm like, oh, you're not a Zeus, but you're a moose. And therein became the Moose. Yeah. So he looked like a moose. He was like this little like Hodie-do dog. He was so, yeah. Miss him terribly. But yes, I know the names that we come up with, and the imprint that they leave on our hearts forever in our hearts. Jessica, we have had some incredible episodes here. I can't wait to have Catlin on again, talking to pet parents about how to become an influencer. What is that? What is an influencer? Like you were saying, what is it?
Right. I know. Somebody reached out to me and asked me to be an influencer, and I kind of giggled. I'm like, have you met me? I'm like, my mother would be embarrassed. And she's like, do you know that girl curses more than most sailors? Like, my mother would be like, no. You do not want her to be, no. I just might.
I beg to differ. I think you could be an influencer all day long. And I have not heard you cuss one time within our series of interviews that we've had. I've come closer than you have, but yes.
That's because I got a little pin cushion underneath my seat, so that way I won't, ping, ping, ping. No, I'm trying to be a good girl. That's all I'm trying to say. I want to keep this kid friendly. So that's why I have to be mindful of that, but yeah.
I love it.
But I think it would be cool because, I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and she was talking about, somebody, it was an article in the news that came up, and it was about an influencer that was upset over something. And she's like, how is she an influencer? And I'm like, I don't know how you get labeled an influencer. I don't know, so it'd be really fascinating to talk to her about that, and learning more about that, I think. So I'd like to talk to her more. I'd like to pick her brain.
I love that. Yeah, anybody can be anything now. You have a social media account, you can be an expert at anything. I think we're going to be addressing that later on in the series, talking about things because, what really is what is misinformation, and who's who to trust, and really what we're passionate about, and what our pet peeves are within the pet industry, and within our industries that we touch upon with animal welfare and the veterinary profession as well.
I was gonna say, and you know how I feel, in the pet industry, and I'm, pet sitting industry. Yeah, we both have pet peeves in all the industries that we've been in and stuff. Yeah, but that's good. So, all right, my dear, I think it's time for us to say goodbye.
It is indeed. Parting is such sweet sorrow, but we'll see you again next week, right here.
Yep, we'll see you next week. So I'll talk to you soon. Mwah! Bye. Until next time, how do you make your pets feel like family? Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave us a review on Spotify or wherever you're listening to us today. If you want to reach out to us, feel free to find us on petsourfamily.net. or any of our social channels, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. And we want to remind you, pets are family. Have a good one. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, guys.